Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to be unlocking a super important piece of the math puzzle, the decimal. We're going to decode exactly how to multiply and divide them so you can do it with total confidence. Let's jump right in.
Think about it, right? We all know how to count. 1, 2, 3. But what about all that stuff that's happening in between those numbers? Well, that's exactly where decimals come into play. They're the secret code for all those little fractional parts, and today we're going to get totally fluent in their language.
So, first things first. Before we can start multiplying or dividing anything, we have to really get our heads around the one single powerful idea that makes this whole system tick.
And that big idea? It's called place value. You can think of that little decimal point as our anchor, the center of our numbers universe. To the left, you've got your regular old ones, tens, and hundreds. But to the right, that's where a whole new world opens up. We're talking tenths, hundredths, thousandths. And the key is that each spot is 10 times smaller than the one just to its left. Seriously, understanding this is the key to everything else we're about to do.
All right, you with me? Good. Now for our first challenge. How in the world do we multiply these decimal numbers? I know it might look a little complicated, but there's this beautifully simple strategy that turns what seems like a tricky problem into something we actually already know how to do.
Let's start on solid ground with something familiar, whole numbers. We all know that 1, 2, 3, 4 times 6 is 7404. Simple enough, right? Okay, now let's see what happens when we throw a couple of decimals into the mix.
Okay, here we go. Let's introduce our decimal points. See how the digits are exactly the same, but their values have totally changed? Now it's 12.34 times 0.6. It suddenly feels different, doesn't it? Well, here's the secret. It's really not.
Check this out. This is the universal three-step rule that works every single time. First, just ignore the decimals, pretend they aren't even there, and multiply the numbers, which we already know gives us 7404. Easy. Step 2, you're going to count the total number of decimal places in the numbers you started with. So 12.34 has 2 and 0.6 has 1. That's a grand total of 3. And finally, for step 3, you put the decimal point in your answer so it has that same number of places. We just start from the right and hop over 1, 2, 3 spots to the left. And bam, our answer is 7.404.
Feeling good about that? Let's do one more, just to lock it in. We know that 128 times 4 equals 512. So, using our new rule, what do you think 1.28 times 4 would be?
You got it. It's 512. We just multiply 128 by 4, which gets us 512. Then we go back and count the decimal places in the original problem. 1.28 has 2 places, and the number 4 has, 0. So our answer needs 2 decimal places. See? It's a perfectly consistent rule. It works every time. Okay, we've totally conquered multiplication. Now let's build on that and tackle our final challenge, division. Now this one has one extra little twist, but I promise once you see it, you'll get it just as quickly. So with division, there are really 2 main situations you're going to run into. The first one, over on the left, is dividing a decimal by a whole number. Take our example, 7.5 divided by 3. This one's super straightforward. You just do the division like you normally would, and then the decimal point from the 7.5 just floats straight up into your answer. And as you can see, we get 2.5. But what about dividing by a decimal? Well, that situation over on the right requires one little extra but very crucial step. And here is that crucial step. The main goal here is to make the number you're dividing by, we call that the divisor, a whole number. It just makes life easier. So look at our second example, 8.4 divided by 0.2. To turn that 0.2 into a whole number, 2, we just have to move the decimal point one spot to the right. But, and this is the most important part, to keep everything balanced, whatever you do to that number, you have to do to the other one too. So we also move the decimal in 8.4 one spot to the right, which turns it into 84. And just like that, our tricky problem becomes a much friendlier one, 84 divided by 2, which is, of course, 42. That's the whole trick. Just make the divisor a whole number.
And just like that, you've done it. You've passed the trials, and you've decoded the decimal. So let's take a second and recap the powerful new tools that you've just added to your math toolkit. Here it is, all in one place. For multiplication, remember, multiply first, then count the spots, and place the decimal at the end. For division by a whole number, easy. The decimal just goes straight up. And for division by a decimal, you just slide the decimal in both numbers to create an easier problem for yourself, and then divide. That's really it. These 3 rules are your foundation for mastering decimals.
So, the next time you're splitting a bill with friends, or maybe calculating measurements for a project, or looking at some data, you'll know exactly what to do. You have unlocked the code that governs all those numbers in between. The only question left is, where are you going to apply it first? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.